to call to order the Village of Wolverine Lake Parks and Rec Board. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Goodman.
Here.
Jeremy.
Here.
Albright.
Here.
Kane.
Here.
Ingram. Here. Schwartz. Here. Farrell.
Here.
How do we do the absences?
You can make a motion to excuse Diane
Okay.
as she
Can I-
reported she wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to excuse Diane
Second.
meeting as she noticed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the agenda, or is there any additional additions you want to add?
I didn't see.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
All in favor? Approval of minutes from the August 21st regular meeting and the September 5th work session.
So moved as is.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Chairman's report. We don't have anything at this time. Call to the public. There is none. Is there any new business? Continuing business, replacing the wooden kiosk information board.
I spoke to Michael yesterday, nothing new to report. He's fundraising and acquiring materials and repairs, and that could give us a update when he moves on to the next stage of actually building. I asked him to send us a couple of pictures maybe his dad could take. We'll give him in his
Do you know how much he made fundraising with the cans? Did he?
She said they hadn't returned it yet.
Oh, I was just-
Returned them, because I even had another bag I gave her.
Oh.
From the very last of the thing that had been sitting in my house since then, so.
I was just curious, okay.
Yeah, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know as soon as she lets me know.
Just to dot i's and cross t's, council approved it at the Wednesday meeting as well. Just, it was more satisfying upper people at Eagle Scouts. And we did get this, his formal application I submitted to them, so you guys can take a look at it if you want afterward. It's got a nicer, or a more detailed write-up and some nice plans on there of what he's looking to build, so.
Nice.
Corn roast.
Well, I have to admit, afterwards, we all sat down and went over it, so Molly and I talked about a couple things even afterwards. So, in the past, this last year, I ordered 54 tables, and we only used 44. So, and Diane's not here, and so I wasn't certain if we ordered more. I can't remember exactly why. Was it we were going to use some for the art exhibit, possibly, and if maybe she used more for the craft? So why we had all these extra tables, I don't know. Or we can use the tables, but then maybe get more chairs so people can sit down.
Yeah.
So that we can make that decision when it comes. And then the sanitation system never arrived, and we'd have been reimbursed, or we didn't have to pay for it.
Okay.
That was taken care of. And I actually went and talked to Derek about it, and he was really frustrated and didn't understand why the company did that. They knew about it. It was ordered well in advance. And so he actually sent me the email. He said that he was not happy. And then I told him about the generator, and then it ran out of gas. He did not know why, because he says it was topped off. And I told him it ran out about 3:30. And Molly had a good suggestion, and I didn't think at the time, is that next year when we go over our notes to say, maybe can you give us a discount on the next inflatable since we lost an hour and a half usage of it? And I said we tried to use electric and it kept blowing fuses, so that ended
It ran for about 20 minutes, and then it blew.
Yeah,
And then the,
so, but I thought that was a good point. I mean, we paid for all those hours and lost it, so we can ask next year.
I'm wondering, so the inflatable is in two parts. There's there's the climbing part at the end where kids exit, and there's the entrance part. That part, even when I had the electrical going to it, was just not nearly like it was not filling as effectively. I wonder if there's a rip somewhere, a small one, so air is getting out, and that may have caused it to use more gas from the get-go this year as opposed to last year. Because the whole time I'm trying to get it to inflate, and the other side's perfect, it's in great shape, but that front half just never, no matter what we did, was never at
Never
full-
fully-
Yep, never fully inflated.
And that could be, and I have to admit, we keep using that one, because to me, it's kind of like the biggest one, and it fits more ages. If we want the following year, maybe get two different ones, maybe one for a younger group and one for a larger group, but then it's going to be two generators. So, something we can
Well-
discuss.
It wouldn't have to be two generators.
No?
It depends on the size.
Okay.
Because this one takes 4 compressors to inflate it.
Oh.
And there are 4 outlets on that generator they provided us. So that was part of the problem with the electrical. Because the plug that I was using only had 3, so I had to mess around, and that probably didn't help. So you could probably, most of them only take 1 or 2, the normal size ones. So they could probably just use 1 generator, and if you space it right, it wouldn't be too much of a problem, but
Okay.
there's all kinds
What
of
about something
options.
we discuss next year for something different? And someone brought up a good point, the dumpster was arrived by Friday, but it needs to be with the storage unit, and to tell them that, not by the parking lot.
They know. I talked to Tabitha about it. She submits to GFL a diagram of where to put it.
And they just didn't do it.
And the guy who delivered it was running late. The guy who was delivering it apparently knew to get it in the park, but just could not understand. He did not have the diagram and did not understand where she wanted him to put it. So he put it somewhere, basically.
Got it, all right. And then we just need, I like the Pony Group. I think they're really nice people to work with. We just need to talk to them about arriving late. And then our 100-foot hose, they were looking for, we don't know where that happened to it, and we wonder if maybe DPW borrowed it.
I have no idea.
So, and that's something we can look into. And just the other one was to remind me the tablecloths. We ran that real close. And then just some things to keep it, so there was, when watching Mark clean up the spinner, that was quite the mess, so maybe we can make it easier and for cleanup too with that.
Well, that
And
thing
that-
cakes up.
Pardon me?
The spinner cakes up with layers and layers and layers of paint. So it's just going to be messy no matter what you do. That thing.
And so we need to purchase the 2 cash box, we need more small bills, and then I wrote down what, for food, what Molly and I talked about, we thought maybe the differences should be.
Listen,
And I thought Linda had a good idea, maybe try and bring the court, since there was room, bring it closer to the rest of the activities, and, get more people involved, and I don't know if there was anything else. That's what we kind of talked about when we were standing there, if you think of anything else.
I have something else to add.
Okay.
We chatted about it, but I don't know that we formally wrote it down, but free food for
Oh, yes.
volunteers, which I think is great. You get a wristband, but we give the band free food for whatever reason, but then we don't for the pony ride. It's kind of like, well, why do we do it for the band and not others?
Yeah.
And we weren't doing it for vendors. Some had come up and we said, no, you're here to sell your stuff. You're not volunteering. So I think we need a clear line of who gets a wristband for free food, or if we want to set something like, okay, the band, you get a hot dog, a drink, and a bag of chips, because they come over and they're coming over sometimes for 2 helpings, and potato salad, hot dog, drink, chip. They're getting everything. So, and they've just done that in years past, so I don't know how we go about that, or we just.
Yeah, Julie ended up paying for the pony people that came, because one of the young kids came and said, oh, did we get anything? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then Julie's like, oh, here, I'll pay for it. And I will pay for that.
So, I agree, that's something we're going to have to make a decision ahead of time, because, it was very inconsistent.
People
what we
can
did.
just take advantage, and then you have other people who never even bother to go up there.
Right.
Or they just
Thank
pay
you.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But overall, it was a big success. We roasted 420 ears of corn and pretty much sold them all, yeah.
yes.
This was the first time I can remember that we didn't have corn left over at the end that we were
Or you
selling
said,
uncooked,
please,
you know.
hold on, don't.
I can remember 10 for $1. You know,
Yeah.
That's for leftovers in prior years, yeah.
I had some, go ahead. I had some comments, just some notes, I guess, not all comments. I want to do a better job of hanging the signs at the tournament. They were great signs, and they just didn't get up as they probably should have, and take more pictures than just our winners and things like that. So I hope to document it a little better and put the signs up a little better. I put down to bring a dolly. We did a lot of carrying stuff, so I thought maybe a dolly might be a good idea.
I've got
Easy
to-
enough. I've got a smaller one, throw in there to go between the storage room and the pavilion. Somebody suggested a Jenga game, one of the tabletop Jengas, and we have one. So I'm going to bring it and set it up by the cornhole next time, just for people to play. It might be kind of fun to have a tournament someday if somebody wants to do it, but it's just another thing for the adults to do, I think. It's just the boards, it's not any of the drinking questions or anything on those. I had a comment from one person that it turned out because of how we were set up in that the same team played on the same lane for the entire tournament, because they started on lane 1, and each time they went back to lane 1.
Is that good or bad?
That's bad. I think that everybody should be rotating through the boards so that the one team doesn't get used to the one set of boards, just for, sake of saying so. And then as far as comments, as far as just compliments about the cornhole tournament, it was very popular. The women said they like the idea that it gives the guys a reason to come down, because normally they just send the wives with kids. And this way, the guys came down, watched the cornhole, played the cornhole, so they were kind of happy. They did suggest, though, people said professional designing of the flyers and the Facebook posts. That our flyers include everything, but it's not easy to read everything. And then, despite my going, really, they thought that the cornhole tournament and the flyer for the corn roast looked a lot alike, so they didn't realize it was a different flyer, that it was just another advertisement of the same event. So those were just 2 comments, and so, it's just something
Good to
I
know.
wrote down. And, so I thought maybe next year we could see if we could have a volunteer graphic designer that might want to lend their talents to designing some of our marketing materials. So keep that in mind if you're talking to nieces and nephews or college kids that want to show off.
The talents.
Yep.
When do we find out, or do we get a report like how much we spent and how much was taken in?
We could ask for them.
I just know how much I collected at the end of the day.
Oh.
Was $2,970 was in the cash box.
Wow.
300, we started with. And then also, so that was a total of 2,670. That includes some vendors and some cornhole entries. And then several people just wanted to give us money, donations. So that was $14. So that's how we came up with the total.
Say, but that total, but didn't all the money for the cornhole tournament, it went all totally back, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it came in, so it was just an exchange of money there.
Kind of for the cornhole, yeah. We did
Okay.
have late entries, and they paid cash, and so we gave it to them to put in the cash box.
Got it,
So that's
okay.
how it ended up in the cash box.
I get it.
It was 2 teams? $100 or 1 team?
I'm just,
2 teams, yeah.
You had 2 show, you had a
Yeah.
show up today, then you had the Mike and team.
Yeah.
and
And I had 4 vendors that paid that day, so that was another 100.
And based on Julia's calculation, we had between 140 and 150 children's wristbands.
Had what? I'm sorry, Ken.
We sold 140 to 150 children's wristbands. Because I'm not sure she counted all of mine, and so it's broad range. Well, I didn't have time to count the wristbands because on the way of bringing over all our supplies, something happened to the tickets and they had to be all resorted. The food tickets, so that took up a lot of time. And then I did talk to Diane, and she said everything was perfect for the children's tent, and that they got super busy around 2 o'clock. She told me.
There was one thing I had about the tables and why some may not have been used. The way, because I led setting up the dining fly seating as well as that uncovered seating. We did not pack them in as tightly this year so that people from both rows could pull out their chairs and there's still a walking path. So there wasn't nearly as many tables under that fly as well as in that sun area in front of the band and concessions. That might have also contributed to it.
But there seemed to be plenty of seating.
Oh, yeah, there was
Running out,
plenty of
yeah.
seating, for
Yeah.
sure. There was, I want to say we did, there were 6 per table, and we had 4 tables out, or no, 3 and 3, so we had 36, then we had 5 rows, so that was more than enough seating for people to get under the fly and outside in the sun if they wanted to.
And I know one of the tables was used last year too for the silent auction area.
I think there was 2 for the silent auction.
Two?
I thought there was 2, like they had their baskets on one, and then some of the baskets
So,
where they
I
were
mean, that
sitting.
could be, so it was just
Yeah.
something to think about if people ordering. I mean, I just hate spending the money and maybe spend all that money on it and they just kind of sat
I
there.
think we set a lot aside thinking for the artists,
I do think it was the
potentially.
art, yeah.
And then we figured we might need more for the cornhole and things like that. At the time when we set the order up, rather have and not need than need and not have kind of mindset. So, and then for the art, Kevin brought brought tables himself, so he didn't need any. He just needed the tent. And then, yeah.
So, I mean, do you think overall from watching, when you're there, that there was enough seating there for people in general? Were people waiting? It didn't look to me like there when we were out looking. It didn't seem like a lot of people were looking for places to.
No, I think there's plenty of seating, yeah.
I
Wasn't
do
an
too.
issue.
Okay. I get everybody else's opinion. Okay. So, yeah, but I think it was a great success.
Yeah,
Great day.
people loved it, yeah,
Yep.
the weather was perfect.
I went and got Penny Lake's receipt over the weekend, and they gave us a 30% discount this year, which was even more than last year.
Wow.
So we spent more because we ordered more meat up front. We ended up having to get a few more salads. But our total for them was $1,291.22, and he had given us over $500 off our bill.
Wow.
So, big thanks to Penny Lake.
Yeah, and the food we seemed to call it just right, because the brats, we cooked them all, and the hot dogs, there were like maybe a dozen or 2 left, and that was it.
Yep.
And-
Yeah.
And I don't know, on the
Felt good about
salads and
that.
stuff, there didn't seem to be a whole lot.
No, I ended up ordering a dozen more of each around like 3:30 because we were on our last sleeves of them. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't run out. And then we ended up probably having about 10 of each left, maybe 12. So really, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's better to have just a few left over,
Yeah.
than run out.
Yeah, so I think it was great. And he took back the chips, the unused 12 packs of pop, both boxes of chips. So we took those off our bill, so. That's great.
So just in general, we try to take more pictures. At least I know I forgot to take any pictures. And I was like, oh crap. And then I think it'd be a good idea, especially as we get it set up and everything, just to get those large views. And then try and do some decorating out front of the park, like near the entrance and things. Nothing crazy, but just add a little something, make it a little more visible from the street. We can do that even on Friday, and because I was going to do it before the thing kicked off, and I just ran out of time. And so,
Could we get a banner that just says, I mean, for up front, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm saying decorate balloons, whatever, but a banner that says, corn roast today or something,
yeah.
just so people could see it from the road.
One guy came by, he drove by, and he said, oh, and the food, we were closing down, he goes, oh, because I just saw this, I didn't know all about this. He was just driving by, and so. I said, next year, same time, just come earlier. So, yeah, that'd be nice.
Do you have anything to add about the fishing tournament or anything?
No, so as far as the fishing tournament goes, in addition to what I'm about to say, I did print off a final report that I promised in August that I'd write up. Brian and I co-authored it, and it goes into a lot more detail about some of the finer stuff of the fishing contest. But overall, at the corn roast, it went well, I think, because Ted and his crew labeled everything themselves, which was very, very nice of them and made it a lot easier to figure out, okay, who has what prize. He tailored the prizes as well, so that kids weren't just getting the same thing over and over again year after year, because we do have repeat winners. Overall, we have 8 winners that did not pick up their items. I'll be sending an email to Paige about getting their contact info and giving them a call or sending them an email about how they can pick up their prize and all that here.
They were nice prizes.
They were
Very nice.
Yeah, the kids were excited. Some of the big kids too.
You did a great job announcing it.
Thank you.
Very nice to hear.
This is way more detailed than I expected, holy cow.
I mean, I
never
know,
did this.
I know we can't change it, but we heard nothing
From
from
over there.
but where you get the
So that, yeah, so one of the things, I had a vendor last year tell me the same thing, that they can't hear. So one of the, and there's no real
Yeah.
way to adapt that, other than announce, well, that, or you'd have to plug in the band stuff and move around. But really, it's to announce to those areas, so the vendor range, the cornhole area, the kids tent, that announcements are going to be made, particularly for things like the fishing contest and the 50/50 that people might want to hear and be up there for. And that's probably the best way, whether it's with a megaphone or just shouting it out, just so they're made aware. I did intend to do that this year, but then I got distracted by the inflatable, so
Can we get an additional speaker that points towards where the vendors are? Or?
I don't know how it would be depending on the band, if they'd be willing to accommodate that and hook into that or something like that. That would be the effect there. Because it's certainly loud enough when you're in the concession area, but it's just, sound is one direction. And so-
Right.
And do we have a set time for the fishing tournament announcements? I thought we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was announced at 4 o'clock, yep.
Both of them? Both at the same time?
Yes.
4 o'clock,
Okay.
yep.
Because
It's all
we had
announced.
several people come up and go, when is it, when is it? And they were redoing 2, but they only did 1.
Well, maybe what we could do too is just make a banner when people come in to buy their tickets for the food in that area when they come, just, say 50/50 drawing at 4, fishing tournament at 4, so they can maybe read it too, in case they miss, if they don't hear it. Just give them a heads up at what time it's going to be, whatever we decide.
Yeah. And I don't know, and I'm sure nobody really, I'm sure they look at the flyer, but every year that I've done it, the tickets, and it seemed more this year, people come up and go, oh, you only take cash? Yeah. Or they, I don't know if you still want to do, is a ticket still easier? Like if somebody comes up and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah, 'cause it-
We can tell by the color while they're
Yeah.
standing in line what we need to
Yeah,
get.
oh, yeah, it moves so well,
Yeah.
coordinated.
Because we had probably, I'd say 10% of the people go, yes, I like $20 worth of tickets, and we'd be like, yep, so,
Plus, they're not standing in front of our station then and
Yeah.
saying, oh, what do I want?
Yeah.
Or, like, they already know. We can keep it moving. And
Maybe
we're
on the
moving
flyer, we need to
that
put cash only.
Yeah.
Add it to the flyer.
Is it on our main flyer?
I thought it was.
Is it? I don't
I thought it was. Or maybe it wasn't and we just assumed that.
Unless the village can set up a Venmo account or something, that would be an option, but I don't know.
I can set up the village Venmo account. I do have a checking account.
Yeah, I don't see it on the main one, but I don't know. I feel like when you kind of have to assume when you're going to an event like that, they're not going to have credit card machines out and, I don't know.
Maybe we just put an ATM.
We had somebody years ago recommended, you said you can rent ATMs. It is not worth it for us. But you
yeah,
can do
I was
it.
about to say,
I was about to say.
You gotta be like a state fair, sure.
Yeah.
But for us, it's
So we just
not.
directed everybody up to the party store up the street, because they had an ATM.
Oh, that makes.
Because we had some young kids come, probably a little bit younger than Cody, and they go, cash?
Yeah, they don't know what it is.
Isn't cash obsolete? I don't think anybody uses cash anymore.
Not if you're moving cocaine.
You want to really feel old, Lori? I don't carry cash at all. I only carry a quarter so I can go to Aldi. That's it. To get the little cart. But other than that, I don't carry cash at all.
I know a lot of people don't carry cash.
180 of you.
Anything else on the criminals?
I don't think so.
Holiday decorating contest. Cody was gracious enough to give us categories for the Halloween and holiday decorating contest, or Christmas, winter. Did anybody have any objections or wanted to change any of the categories?
I think we should go over what we were talking about initially, Lori, before we went live. And one of those was the descriptions will need to be reworked. Of course, it's a draft. But we both really liked the keyword idea, because if then the entrant knows what we're looking for. So for Fall Y'all, for instance, they're not going to submit, their Nightmare on Elm Street house decorations and expect to get Fall Y'all, for instance. So that allows certain participants, because we ultimately choose the categories, we just ignore if they recommend themselves for an award. That allows residents to, if they want to shoot for one, they can just tailor it to that theme, and it's as easy as a Google search of that term, and they can just see a bunch of Google images and be like, okay, that's what I want to do. And then put that stuff up, or go to Michael's, or whatever they choose to do.
Do we normally have 4 categories?
That's what I was going to ask.
We do not. There was a reason why I did that, and it was because of the lights decoration from winter. What I was aiming for in this draft was there to be an analog for both Halloween and for the winter holiday decorating contest, so that there's a 1-for-1, just to make the both contests predictable. So, okay, there's a season theme, there's a lighthearted holiday theme, a serious holiday theme, and then a light inflatable theme.
Because I kind of thought the Silver Bells on Wolverine Lake in the winter were real similar. Just lights in general. I mean, general winter, but I understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So, but if we do 4, what are we going to do? You mean less money?
Exactly. That was my concern too. I didn't adequately address it here. But yeah, it's something that we can either cut one, or we can wrap the lighthearted presentation of the holiday and the serious presentation of the holiday together. There's a few different ways we can go about that. But you're right, I did not address it in the proposal at all.
What are the tip prizes?
Gift cards, usually to like Home Depot or Lowe's, because from in the past, way back before I was even involved, people who won usually went there after Christmas and added to their scene every year. So that's why I stood with that. The only thing I'm wondering about is I haven't seen them lately. After we always get them a sign and then a gift card. But I haven't seen the signs in yards the last couple of years, like, Wolverine Lake Holiday Contest.
Well, I saw
I've
ones
seen
on
them for-
Shane.
Yeah, I saw
I've
some
seen them
last year.
for Christmas. I don't know if I've paid attention to Halloween, to be
Yeah, I
honest
saw
with
them
you.
for both.
Halloween?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, I definitely saw them for Christmas. 'cause, yeah.
Well, the one who won is way back in the neighborhood, so it's not something, I mean, it's not near the thoroughfare, so
As long
I'm
as
sure
you guys
that
have seen
neighborhood.
it, I didn't see any.
What are the prize amounts you normally do, like for second and third?
Well, I used to do it as separate amounts, but last year I just kept it all the same because
Oh, 'cause it's
I was limited to my funds.
Yeah, okay.
And and I had to do both Halloween and Christmas plus the signs, and the signs had went up, of course, everything went up. She didn't give us a discount or anything,
So how much do we have to work with for prizes if we, as a whole, for like Halloween? What's our prize money total?
Well, depending on how much, if the signs are the same, I think the signs cost me $80 for each one. For each holiday.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, for 4 of them, yeah. They were like $16.95 a piece. So like, I don't know, do we really want the signs, or would we rather give them a tier in the prizes, or just give them all the same prize amount?
Well, I guess that's my question. What's left over for the prize money?
Well, if the signs are the same, that
Yeah.
we'll just say the signs are
$80.
180. Yeah,
Okay.
80 per each.
Yeah.
Because my
That's fine.
amount is for both.
Oh, I
So,
see.
Yeah, and I think they gave me 300, so
So 160
whatever.
then if you're doing,
Yeah,
right?
so I had 120 left over, so they get 60.
So they each got $20?
Yeah, whatever the prize amount was. Yeah, because that's all I had to
I'm
work
like,
with.
I'd rather have more prize money than a sign in my yard. The sign is almost as much as the prize money?
Yeah, because I was limited to 300 for both contests.
So,
Yeah, I mean, how
Last
big are
time
the
I think I
signs?
was-
Are the signs just
They're like
big,
a
this-
lawn sign, like a,
Yeah,
like
they're
a
cool.
campaign sign.
Okay.
Yeah, it said, Wolverine Lake.
I think maybe the idea, if we increase, just like, I like the idea, right, maybe more prize money, but just list, have a place where we can list so people know
Yeah.
who got first, second, third. If they won, they could go on the website, whatever, and say, these are the houses that won. So if someone was in the contest wanting to know, now who got first place, who beat me out?
What about ribbons? Like those very over-the-top, like dog show ribbons. How cheap are those? Are those cheaper than a sign, you would think?
And then what, are you all good? You're just going to give blue ribbons to everybody then? Because they're different categories, right? It's not saying first, second, and third. So,
Oh, then they'd have to be custom.
Yeah, it's
Or
the
blue, red, and
customization
white.
gets you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Personally, if I was entering,
I would want
I'd
the money
rather
too,
get
yeah.
a $30 or $40 gift card versus 20.
yeah. But because in years past, we had 3 categories, and it was like 50, 40, 30. But then and I didn't really have a set budget, so that's what I did, plus the signs, and I did that for both. And if we didn't, I mean, years past, we may only gave 2 Halloween, and then the gift card, but I never got reimbursed for their gift card, so I didn't worry about it. So it was never submitted, so. Yeah, so I have to know, yeah. I mean, we can maybe we should decide how much each prize, are they all gonna be the same? Are we gonna do 4?
Well, maybe we can just put a simple sign saying holiday winner or contest winner. You
Well,
don't have to say what category it is.
It doesn't have the category on the sign. It just says Wolverine of the year, Wolverine Lake, whatever the contest was, winner of the year.
I'm just wondering if we can't get some kind of less expensive sign to put on their lawn or something.
Exactly.
Or maybe say, yeah, well, we need the sign back for next year.
Yeah, just not have the year. just say
Reusable
Wolverine Lake
signs.
Contest winner,
Yeah.
decorating contest winner or something. Yeah.
I would be curious to know from someone who's won it a couple times, what do they do with the signs? Do they keep them? Do they
They probably
toss
throw them out.
So they toss them, and it's kind of like, why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we're wasting
yeah, that's what I thought last year.
Yeah.
especially
kill
when
the
the
tree
prices
or
went up.
whatever those signs are made of.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
We're hoping not the same person wins every year.
Yeah, well,
so they
some of
would
them do,
say,
because-
21, 22, 23, winner.
So just say-
Some have.
And then sometimes the signs don't get picked up because they were in the basement one year before we moved to the storage unit, our place in Claire Miller. So,
That kind of says it, doesn't it? That they're not used to the
Maybe, can we have, maybe they don't want their address on the
can't remember.
electronic board, but can we just put, 2203 Shankin
Post
one,
it on the
or,
website.
Yeah,
They'll
that's
post
what I
the
thought.
winners with the address on the website as soon as.
so maybe we could just do that as a way if people
And on
want
the
to check
Facebook
and save
page,
money.
we do it there too.
Yeah.
So
Did we have their name and, or just the address?
I don't remember.
I don't
I think it
remember.
was just the
I would,
address.
I would think it'd just be address.
Yeah.
But, I
if
mean,
you
maybe we
want
can
it,
do
you
that.
can advertise it yourself on Facebook too
Yeah.
and say, booyah, I won.
Well, like I
Oh,
said, the
that.
only time I saw the
Yeah.
sign was when it was actually, I think it was the first year I did it, and it was on Channel 7 News, like repeatedly, the one on Lucille. And they were showing their sign, and, but I mean, I've never seen the sign since, so that's why.
I think we ought to put the money as the gift card, and then just put their addresses on the two electronic boards and on the website. And if someone wants to know how we really did it, how we decided, these were the winners.
Yep.
So what would we want the prizes to be, just because we'll have to release funds? I mean, it's the next
Well, if we have 300, and it's 150 each for each one, so we
Okay.
divide it, whether or not we do 3 or 4 by 3 or 4. So if it's, we only do the 3, then they each get 50. If we do the 4, then it'd be,
Some decimal.
It'd be 35. We're not going to do a decimal. 35 and some pennies.
Yeah.
Like, hand them some, like, just take a roll of pennies and hand it to them.
so that's my
So just a
suggestion.
$300 total with, yeah, so what, do we want to do 3 or do we want to do 4? I guess that's the next question.
What did we do last year?
We did 3 each.
And we used to do first, second, third, and honorable mention, but we don't do that way anymore.
Yeah, because we changed the categories, because it was kind of hard, how do you decide, so.
I think if we want to combine, like Cody said, do like, for Halloween, for example, like 3 and 4, combine them together. It might be difficult for people to say, well, mine's the PG-13
Yeah.
rated and mine's the
Exactly,
R-rated.
that's-
I get
many
that some are
Rs?
going to be scarier than others, but I like that fall, y'all, we're going to be able to tell. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's the leaves, it's the pumpkins, it's not Halloween at all.
Right.
Then you have the lights and the
Inflatable.
Yeah, inflatables, moving things and whatever. And then the third one could be Halloween. It is,
The Haunting of
Dark.
Wolverine Lake.
yes.
So I think we ought to do 3.
Yeah, I think we should keep it as the Haunting of Wolverine Lake because I really like that name. And just kind of
I
combine.
don't know how many real horror ones we get.
Well, there's that one,
Well, you think of like, I'm thinking of
One
ones
or
last
two,
year where it was
maybe.
like the graveyard. It's
Yeah.
like, that one would be like a Halloween one, I
Right,
think, for
and I
that
think,
category.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, there's some that are, they're Halloween, they're not necessarily like, oh God, I'm scared to walk over there kind of thing at the same
Right.
time. So I think, yeah, combining those would be,
Yep. Yeah, I think we can combine those, and then we probably, like what you said, just do the same thing for Christmas, kind of 3 and 4 together, and
gonna be, or is
it's,
it 1 and 4?
oh, is it 1 and 4?
Or whatever, we can just, that one we can decide.
Yeah.
For
I mean, we
Christmas?
can decide kind of, maybe, we
Okay.
have a time of that, but the Halloween one, we got to decide,
Yeah.
yeah, because we
Yes,
got to
now
get this up.
well, I'm wondering
And the
if
dates.
we have to do the winter one too, because I got an email from Tabitha, I think it was Tabitha, that what do we want in the fall newsletter? And I have to know by Friday.
Okay.
So I assume we would want at least contest, maybe details about, unless we want a specific,
I would just say, I mean, the fall letter is the one in, at least it used to be the one that was put in the spinal column,
yeah,
so it was pretty limited.
yeah.
I don't know what we're doing now because things have changed so dramatically with our print resources. So I'm not sure if we're doing an actual pamphlet that we send out or
Yeah.
if it's just going to be in the paper again. So that would affect how much space we have. But I would just, village decorating Christmas or winter and or Halloween and winter decorating contests or something like that. Would probably be a good idea.
So then we have to decide, and I forgot to do it before I left, when we want the cutoff to be for the Halloween decorating contest. We meet on the 16th. And I'm sure we don't want to,
No, that's too early.
Well, do we schedule a different meeting for us to decide
Work session.
winners?
Yeah, we do a work
Well,
session.
let's schedule that, and then we can decide on the deadline.
Okay.
So we have a few days to, if we can try and get out and see them,
Yeah.
you know.
What if we did the following week, the 23rd, for the work session?
Yeah, I was gonna say sometime that week, anytime that week.
Or
Most
do
of
we
that
want
week.
the cutoff the 23rd so that they can get the entries in over the weekend?
No, I say the cutoff by the 20th. So,
Oh, I don't know.
I know, is that too early?
I don't know.
Then they get
Halloween
that
is usually-
weekend.
yeah.
But then they get
Yeah,
that
so maybe the
weekend.
23rd, to give the people a weekend to work on them.
So then put it on the 24th, would be the, we would meet?
Tuesday.
That's
Because-
probably too soon then, I would think.
Oh, for us to
Just,
go out and
just if
look.
we want
Oh,
to
yeah.
go see
Oh, yeah.
whatever, like,
Yeah.
can we meet like that Thursday or Wednesday? I mean,
The only reason why I'm leery of the Wednesday is if council has a work session, it's
Yeah.
the 25th.
can we do the 26th maybe?
I can do 26, I just have to be somewhere by 7, so that's all. So we can do it early, or I can give you my opinion, and that's how it works. You know, I can just set the ones I like, and you go from there.
Yeah.
Why don't we do like 6 PM? I mean, it's gonna take us, what, half an hour?
If that's-
As much as nothing gets added to it.
Yeah, if we're, I mean, 26th.
the 26th at 6
PM
o'clock?
Here?
Could end up with the planning commission meeting that night, but that's not till 7, so if we can do it at 6 and be done in time to,
Okay.
Okay.
You just hang out here all day.
So do we have to do a motion for a work session, or does she just?
Just, no,
Okay.
that's like, it's like
I
a
don't
cornrows
know,
meeting.
just automatically-
It'd be like a cornrows meeting.
Yeah, okay.
But this, yeah, it'd be fine.
Well, they have to, 6, at 6.
26th at 6.
With
Yeah.
the 23rd being the cutoff
Yes.
Yes.
by
Yeah, so
4
she'll-
PM or whatever she is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right now it says October 25th on there, so on our agenda.
Oh,
So we'll
okay.
want her to
Yeah.
update
Okay.
wherever that's gonna be, the 23rd.
Because, I mean, a lot of people, you give people the weekend to put them up.
And then we'll just work on the, oh, do we have to release funds?
Yes, that'd be a good idea.
Can we make motion?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure $300.
Yeah, that's what it was, I think, last time.
Motion to release funds for the holiday decorating contests
Second?
in the amount of $300.
We need roll call, correct?
Yes.
The second was Carrico.
Yes.
Okay. Giovanni,
Yes.
Carrico,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Longbridge,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Lidman.
yes.
And then we'll work on
Send one later.
Thanks for doing those, Cody.
Yes.
Yeah,
Great.
looks good.
Yeah, I like them.
Again, more detail.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to worry about the date. The 18th too, I just saw that. Snacks with Santa, I know Diane's not here. I don't know how many know, but there's an issue with Santa.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know she had sent out an email to everybody, she texted me. She said, Paige reserved the Richardson for 12/9, but Santa has it scheduled on 12/16.
He can't do the night?
I guess not. She said she would call Emily at the Richardson tomorrow to see if she could change it. But that doesn't mean we're available. I mean, I guess as long as she's here. So, that's,
So I guess the decision is, what do we, I mean, we're going to be limited where we can do this. We may have to find a different Santa.
Yeah.
I mean, we
It's
might have
either
to keep it on the night, I don't know.
if we can't get the Richardson Center on the 16th, or we already know we can't.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know, so we're checking on that. If it's available, we're switching to that date, because Santa's, right?
yeah, that's what yeah, it was a very short text. I assume
Okay.
that's what she was
Okay.
meaning, yeah, so.
I feel like that's fine. Last year we did it later, I think,
Yes.
too. It was like that
I think it was
weekend.
just I thought it was just a week later, but it might have been.
Yeah.
I know the first week always interferes with stuff I do, so. And then I guess we keep the 9th if we can't get it the 16th, because I don't know if it's
Oh,
easier
yeah.
to find a venue or Santa.
I think we're so used to the Richardson Center,
Yeah.
like,
Way, that time of year, it's going to be hard to find a
Yes.
venue, too.
I say, I think
Yes.
it'd have to be to change the Santa.
Especially if that
Find
space.
someone different.
It's reasonable.
yes.
Zero is a great price, yeah. And if they let us in the night before, it's even better.
So letters with Santa, she didn't mention anything about that. Pending business, Veterans Memorial.
Finally making some progress on the bricks. We're going to be going with a new style for now because the machine that did the original laser etching is just never going to be fixed, it sounds like. So we'll be ordering some bricks this week, and we'll have them in before Veterans Day.
And we have a new, another meeting scheduled.
Yeah, sometime, October 10th or something, I think.
I assume there's nothing new on Amelia Park, correct?
Still there.
Claire Miller Playground Equipment.
So we had bids come in. They were not great. So based on recommendations from Jason McDonald, our prime professional, and Dave Gillum, we are going to go out for rebid in a few months. One of the big things holding up contractors is that within our plan, we call for making the pathways using permeable or pervious concrete. That is something that most of the contractors were really skeptical about, partially because there's about only one company in the state that even makes it. It is not a commonly used product, so they kind of want to, he thinks that that's caused them to hike their prices a little bit and things like that, because they weren't sure how easily it would be to acquire that or what the cost would be. So instead, he's going to contact our person with the DNR and say that instead of using that, we would use porous pavers, which are much easier to acquire and used all the time in Michigan, and would still have that same effect of allowing water and other to just drain through them, but would be easier to acquire. And if they approve that, then when we go out for rebid, we would have that instead. Additionally, to reduce cost, he might drop some of the smaller pieces of equipment because those were not in the original proposal to the DNR, so that would stink. But we can always add in years in the future, where we just the coloring of the surface would look a little different where we slotted them in. But in all, it would still save some money. But he is thinking that if we can change the permeable concrete, that would make a difference. And heck, I was looking into it anyways, and it turns out it's not always great in cold climates because of the nature of the material. It uses very large aggregate as opposed to regular concrete. So it does tend to sometimes break down due to the frost freezing effects of our environment. So these pavers might work out better anyways in terms of being durability and long-term use. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, yeah, we decided not to take the bids that were offered. The lowest one was well into the threes, so we'll see.
And how long, when do we have to make a decision by? Is it like 2 years of,
We still have next year. It has to be put in by sometime next year.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly when, but we should still have sufficient time, even if we go out for bid in, say, December, to that, because they'll get it back within 30 days to then accept it and then get on the schedule for the summer to get it in. And Dave Gillum made very clear, this is not the village reneging or pulling back. We're committed to doing this, but we just want to try to do it at a better price. And so we'll see. The costs have gone up on everything.
Tennis courts, pickleball courts, there's
Nothing new there.
BMX track.
Council approved having a detailed drawing done, as Mike Powell mentioned in our meeting last month. And so he'll get working on that. Might have us go out and visit the park with him at some point, talk with his designers, and see what we kind of want to look at. Dave Gillum is going to be speaking with our insurers to see if having something as large as being proposed would affect our insurance rates at all, because it's entirely a possibility, but we'll see there. But either way, yeah, we're going to get something a little more detailed, get some more price points and everything else for that space.
Liaison reports. Planning Commission, did you meet?
Yes, we did have a meeting in August. It was a brief meeting. The two significant items out of that, we did fill our open planning commission seat that was vacated by Kathy Moretto. We selected Patrick Brzezowski. He's going to join our commission. We recommended to council, and I'm assuming he
Yes.
got approved, so he'll be joining us on Thursday. Second item, we're having a second public hearing on our pool spas and hot tubs regulations at our meeting on Thursday. We got some feedback that people wanted to provide more comment, and then we'll see if we end up, adjusting any of the language in the regulations as a result, and we'll move forward.
So
with
this is
that.
open up to the public? is what you're
Yeah, it's a
saying?
public hearing on Thursday at our regular planning commission meeting on Thursday.
This Thursday.
This Thursday at 7, yeah. So that's all that's significant for planning.
Okay. Council liaison, Mark.
As Brian just said, yeah, we appointed Patrick Brzezowski to the Planning Commission. Really good resume for that role, and so should be a great addition there. We've had a thorough discussion on ditches and storm sewer enclosures, particularly in the Wolverine Drive, Penny Lake area. There is a lot of water there that gets in the ditches, and some of it starts to sit and doesn't really drain very well. And in fact, at one section, the last massive storm we had just created a sinkhole. And so we do have to do something there for sure. And part of this idea is we would fill in the ditches and put in a pipe, and hopefully so that would create better drainage in those areas. Had some residents at the meeting expressing their concerns, talking about how their sump pumps are working pretty much all day, every minute they're coming on, because there's just so much water, and the water table's high over there. And so it's a long-term, 40-year-old issue kind of thing, since Mike Powell's been our village engineer, since Andy's been with the DPW. These areas with ditches have had a lot of problems. These are our worst areas. So we're working on coming up with a way to affect drainage, and we did recommend that he go and get quotes for these two sections that he wants to work on. We approved the crack sealing for the coming year, for this year, and they plan on doing it, I think, the first or second week of November. And that's where they go around all the roads, and any cracks they cover with tar and fill in to help extend the life of the roads. So, and they came in with the same price as last year, so that was nice. Council approved, we approved the Eagle Scout project, of course, approved some funds for the beautification committee for some decorations. The Chicken Backyard Fowl Subcommittee made their recommendations to council, and council agreed to them and has now recommended our village attorney actually go to writing up an ordinance. So we'll see how that goes. At that point, we would then have a public hearing and everything else as well, where people could provide input. We bought a tractor, Kubota 4-wheel drive. It is nice. And we recommended from Andy to buy a new backhoe from Caterpillar. So about $200,000 between the two of them. Both the previous ones were from the 90s, so they've had a good run, and we're selling both of them to get some money back. But Andy sounds like he's pretty excited about the backhoe and stuff. So it looks like we'll have this current backhoe that we have for one more run of the Team Claw pickup of leaves, and then it'll be gone and retired. But that is a lot of work for this kind of equipment to do that, driving around the village like that. We reviewed the bids for Claire Miller. We sold the 2000 Tahoe that we had to a bidder, and we sold the 2016 Charger that we had to a highest bidder. And between them, I think we got about $10,000. So, yeah. And then we went to a closed session for another thing. And I think that was about it. Yeah.
Commerce Parks and Rec liaison. She contacted me, Laura contacted me, and she said she would forward me another email, but I never received an email, so I have nothing for her. She was just going to tell me what Commerce had planned between October and December. I did not receive that. If she did want to know what events we would have, I guess we really don't have any events to tell her because we don't know the date for the Thanks for Santa, so can't really afford anything. Any comments from board members?
I just want to thanks everybody for all the help that went into this corn roast. I was just so excited how well it went. So, thanks everybody. Great job. The corn tournament announcing.
Thanks to all the volunteers. And Dave Gillum has set the bar for administrators. I wonder if he regrets helping out all the time that first year, because every year he comes out and he's out there helping. Thank you to Pam Kuznicki for working concessions and everything too. And they figured out the popcorn machine and got it going the whole time. I didn't have to help out once after I showed him, which was great. And just in case anybody isn't aware, the Lakes Area Youth Assistance has their annual Taste of the Lakes tomorrow at Edgewood Country Club. So it's a great cause. And tickets are available at the door.
Anybody else? Can I get a motion?
Motion
move that we adjourn.
the meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next meeting, October 16th.